Harlequin Intrigue and HarperAudio present Escape the Everglades by Caridad Piñeiro. Performed by Frankie Corzo. To all my friends at Liberty States Fiction Writers for their support and encouragement over the years. Chapter 1. The barrage of gunfire stopped him dead in his tracks. Carlos Ruiz approached his son's door slowly and peered inside. Lucas slouched in his gaming chair, attention fixed on the video game playing on the monitor. "Chico, it's time to go. I've got a hit on Schrodinger," he said. But Lucas didn't budge in his seat. "Lucas, vámonos. It's too nice a day to spend it in front of the television," he chided, and his son finally glanced over his shoulder at him. "But Papi, I just leveled up," his 10-year-old complained. In the nearly 2 years since his mother had died, Lucas had buried his grief by losing himself in the virtual worlds in his video games. Getting his son to do anything else, even play with his old friends, had become a battle. But Carlos wouldn't give up. He walked over and stood in front of the TV, blocking his son's view of the game. "Por favor, Lucas," he said, hands held out in pleading. For good measure, he used the one guilt trip he was sure would work. "Schrodinger was your mom's favorite panther. She'd like to know she's doing well." His son narrowed his gaze and said, "Isn't that the whole idea with Schrodinger? That the cat is both alive and dead?" "Sometimes you can be too smart, ¿sabes? Let's go. We're expecting rain later this afternoon." He reached behind him and shut off the television, ending the game and any further argument from his son. With a twist of his lips and roll of his eyes, Lucas dropped the controller and then shot to his feet. "No more tours today, Papi?" he said, a note of worry in his tone. Carlos shook his head. "Rain's keeping the tourists away, but all the boats were full this morning. We're doing fine," he said to alleviate his son's concerns. That was another thing that had changed since his wife's death. Lucas worried about almost everything. The grief counselor he'd taken Lucas to had said that was normal and would pass in time. But so far it hadn't, which bothered him. No 10-year-old should have such worries. He laid a comforting hand on his son's shoulder and matched his stride to Lucas's shorter one as they walked to the airboat parked at the dock. It was his personal boat that he'd rigged to hold a tablet he could watch as he piloted the boat through the Everglades. The tablet fed him the position of the female panther that had been tagged with a collar equipped with a GPS tracker. The software had let him know earlier that morning that Schrodinger was in the area, and with no afternoon tours, it was as good a time as any to try to see how the panther was doing. He helped Lucas onto the boat and handed him his life vest and the headset that provided hearing protection, as well as a two-way radio and microphone so they could communicate. After Lucas had belted himself into the seat, Carlos unhitched the ropes tethering the airboat to the dock, tossed them on board, and hopped up onto the operator's platform. He slipped on his own headset and life vest and secured himself in the driver's seat, then positioned the tablet for viewing and connected the lanyard to the cutoff switch in case he got ejected. He powered up the engine and took a quick look at the assorted gauges to make sure all was in order. Satisfied, he stepped on the accelerator pedal and slowly navigated the airboat away from the dock. Keeping the boat in the higher water of the canal behind his property, he gradually increased the speed, staying alert for wildlife, hidden dangers like rogue cypress logs or alligators, and the position of the panther. It would take about 30 minutes to reach the panther's position, but that was only if Schrodinger didn't move farther back into the upland forests that the panthers favored. Those areas had the dry ground that held more prey for them to hunt and places to breed. As he drove, he pointed out some of the sights to Lucas. He gestured to a flock of ibises wading in some shallower water. "Check it out, Chico. There are even some..."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?